Modern monetary theory claims that the government is the monopoly issuer of its own currency. Is this true? Well, it may be. In some countries, yes, it is true that they mint, that they all that the currency press is strictly it's owned by the government. Each and every banknote is issued uh, by a government-owned entity, and it is the government which decides how many notes to print, how to put them into circulation, how many to be withdrawn, when should they be withdrawn. All these decisions are made by the government. But even there, let's take demonetization. And this, let's take India. You had demonetization very recently in India. What happened? Did all the notes which were supposed to be demonetized at a certain point, did they cease to be currency? Answer is, by and large, yes. In many parts of India, yes. But anyone who comes from India, we know somebody who knows somebody who took the demonetized notes after the date. Why? Because there was a mechanism for conversion. So, in other words, the mechanism was not known to anybody. It was completely decentralized. It came into existence spontaneously. It can only be measured after the fact, and we don't really have very good measurements of it. But we do. If you're Indian and you know Chachaji and make a few phone calls, you can get some idea. You can make a back of the envelope calculation. But let's take an even more extreme example. And this is Afghanistan in the 90s. You had different factions, they're fighting. Each of them is printing Tugrik, Afghan currency. Economic theory says it should lose all value. I mean, come on. If you knew that I have a printing press in my back room and so does the guy down the road, surely people will stop accepting that currency. They'll think, but money, anything can act as a um, medium of exchange. When you take them, whatever it is you take, you may take cigarettes, you may take anything, whatever it may be. You take it if you know you have a reasonable expectation that you'll be able to get rid of it and get value for it almost immediately. So then it's money. So even with currency, there is this problem. Um, so monopoly condition, it's not a necessary requirement, and it's certainly not a sufficient requirement for the existence of money. And seigniorage can be claimed by more than one party. Now, let us now talk about something else, which is, let's look at the banks. Now, normally, does your bank have some gold to back up its liabilities? Answer is no. If you look at your the currency note that you have in your pocket, or if you look at your agreement with your bank, what it basically says is, I promise to pay you £1. What is that pound? It's the same. You hand in £1 in paper, you'll get back £1 in paper. You hand in £1 in a coin, you'll get back £1 coin. That's it. And that's important, because your banknote starts to wear out, your coin may start to wear out, and you can get it replaced. It's fungible. It's treated as, even though the banknote I have is quite shitty, you've got a really nice banknote, but they are, for legal purposes, they're fungible. And this is, here you have the notion of legal tender. And fungibility is important in the law. that, if you have a contract which says, I will supply you 10 sheep, and I bring along 10 sheep, and you say, well, I don't like that sheep. I'll take the other 9, but this sheep, it's a fucking homosexual sheep. It's looking at me, it's giving me the eye, and you go, no, 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 wait, listen, I got 10 sheep, you take your 10 sheep, that's the contract. Otherwise, you've broken the contract. Yeah, I'll sue you for damages. You're going, no, no, homosexual sheep. And judge is going to go, no, sheep are sheep. So they're fungible, it's fungible. But this is a justiciable matter. And here again, the problem with modern monetary theory, the problem with crackpot theories, is that they take something which is almost true. It's something that you can teach to 15-year-old kids. It's almost true. It isn't true. I remember when I was, 12, 13, we had a chemistry teacher, and atom was defined as the smallest particle which can have a chemical interaction. But then we were taught about electrolysis, where electrons are the smallest particle. I went up to teacher and I said, teacher, madam, I found mistake in the chemistry book. And my friend had come with me, and we were thinking she'd say, oh my God, you're a genius. Let me phone the Nobel Committee. You'll get chemistry Nobel Prize because you've discovered that there is something smaller than an atom, namely an electron, which participates in chemical interactions. And she was basically going, yeah, fuck off. Yeah, well, you'll learn about this when you're going to the, 10th class or 11th class or whatever it was, or you go to college. This will be clarified. But in the case of monetary theory, you see, it never, unless you actually sort of do a economic history, or you actually have some common sense, you actually work in finance, uh, you can, you can get very old. You can become 62 years old, which is my age, without knowing that, that all this is nonsense, that MMT, its fundamental assumption is nonsense. Now, the question I want to move on to in the next section really has to do with the way in which banks are backing the liquid assets they use. They include treasury bills, they include government securities, and so from the treasury, but they also include blue chips. So anything which is highly liquid. That means you can sell it and get virtually 99.9% of the value immediately. You can get it. So in the next section, I want to talk about what's called disintermediation. That's where the government treasury bills are shitty because government is doing stupid shit. Banks are doing stupid shit. So then you can have disintermediation where other non-bank institutions, including financial institutions, that they actually get the upper hand. And ultimately, I will talk a little bit about crypto. Okay, but let me stop for now.